Hey guys, welcome back to Project Bodybuilding here with a reaction video, a reaction with a guest. This isn't an episode of the podcast. This is a reaction to Tyler Manion's recap of the 2024 Mr. Olympia. He puts out recaps after every show he judges, every major show he judges, to give his 2 cents and give us a little insight on what happens from a judge's perspective, that judge's table. We usually just get a couple of numbers. We don't usually get too many thoughts, but Tyler brings these videos out, gives us a little more insight. And to help me dissect this video, I have my great friend, Superset Man, to join me today.
Hello, everybody. Let's do this, man.
Oh,
I'm
this is
excited.
the first time I've had someone on a no. I did a comparison. Usually I only have you guys for podcasts. Technically not a podcast today, but we'll go back and forth, of course. That's why I brought you here. But yeah, we'll react to it. We'll try to pause between every pose. I would say, yeah, every pose, and then if either of us have thoughts in between that, we can jump in as well. So let's see here. Let me share my screen. Let me let me start with one thing. You can keep it very brief, very brief here. Who did you have winning the 2024 Mr. Olympia before the results are called and after the fact?
Man, it was pretty hard for me to decide because the live stream was crappy. So I couldn't see all the details and everything. I saw the movements on the stage. I saw that Samson is gonna be top two after prejudging.
Hmm.
I said that in after my after I saw the prejudging and I uploaded my prejudging review, but I thought Heidi is gonna be third for prejudging and Derek and Samson one and two,
Okay.
no particular order. So I knew Samson is gonna crack the top two, but I didn't know who is gonna win. After I saw the quality photos and the footage, I saw where the judges were coming from, and I was totally fine with Samson winning. But Hadi looked awesome too. And after I saw the Gilco Productions video that Tyler is gonna react here as well,
Hmm.
I completely understood why Derek was third because I at first I thought Derek was overlooked, but Derek was definitely a far third.
Got it. Got it. Okay, yeah. I think in retrospect, I think I had Hottie winning, but I think I said, they'll probably give it to Derek anyway. I couldn't be more wrong. But at the end of the day, it did come down to Hottie and Samson. I have the scorecard as well. So just before we go into the video, it was tied at prejudging between Hottie and Derek, between Hottie and Samson. Derek was in straight thirds from prejudging to finals. They were tied. Samson and Honey were tied at prejudging. Samson pulled away just slightly at the finals. Lower score wins in bodybuilding. So at the end of the day, 14 points to Hottie's 17 points. So he won by 3 points, which is actually a very close decision. I think last Olympia was 2 points, maybe also three, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 2 points though. So these are very close decisions. We don't really need to get into how it's judged or anything. I think most people know it, and really doesn't even matter. But we'll get into the actual judge's perspective. We'll get into Tyler Manion's breakdown. I I would have had Hottie winning personally. This before watching this, but I totally agree with Samson. I think we're kind of on the same page there. So let's go ahead and start. Tyler Manion is my favorite guy in the world. Um, I'm sure most people know. We're best friends, I'd be interested to see what he has to
Hi,
say
everyone.
here.
Tyler Mannion here, NPC and IPB Pro League Vice President, and this will be your Men's Open Mr. Olympia recap. So we had a ton of great competitors this year. I really think this has been the deepest the Men's Open division has been in quite a long time. First, I'm going to
I will ask you. Uh,
No, I don't agree with that.
really, I was about to ask you, what has been the best Mr. Olympia as of recent, if not this one? 2020?
2020 for sure, at least on paper, because you had Phil, you had Brandon, you had Big Ramy coming back. I think you still had Rowley, you had
Yeah.
like a prime Bonak still. Hadi was a second year. Definitely more exciting on paper than this year for me, at least. I mean, Dexter
Mm,
Jack was there. He was retiring. 2020 for sure on paper was the best. 2021, you had like Nick Walker debuting, still Rami versus Brandon, Hadi again.
hmm
Maybe 21 wasn't that good, especially after it happened, because the guys weren't in good conditioning, especially Rami, everyone was expecting from him to surpass 2020.
hmm
And then 2022, I think it was better. It was that deep lineup, but you had Rami again, and all the guys from today plus Rami and Nick Walker definitely better than this year. And last year, 2023, um,
Boo. Boo. How do you have so many shows and nobody shows up?
yeah, but you like you had last year you had Michael Krizo that this year wasn't here. Like you had Will Regan Grimes. I mean, guys that are popular at least that are watchable. So I don't agree with maybe they were in shape this year if this is where he's coming from. Like guys were
I think so. I
in
think I didn't see
shape.
anybody
I
majorly
could agree
off.
with that, but like to say it was like one of the best lineups in general for the names and so on, I don't agree.
Oh man, hard to
Going to go
please.
through with the top two. Obviously, it was very close between Samson and Hadi. We'll break it down pose for pose. Then afterwards, I'll review some of the other guys in the top six. So first up is the front double bicep pose. Samson and
Mm.
Hadi both
Knee jerk reaction. I have Hadi winning this one.
Man, Hardy needs to pull the vacuum in this pose, and he's winning it because I saw the pictures, I saw the footage. He even beats Derek's torso when he
When he does the vacuum.
when he does that deep vacuum. Just yeah, and I think it's kind of convenient here that Tyler shows this. I'm sure he had all the rounds and with some yeah, look at, and this is not what I'm talking about. But Hardy needs to hold that all the time, and it's gonna be like undisputable. This look is still good, but compared to when you have Derek as well, and it's much better for him when he does the deep vacuum.
Mm.
both have very, very strong front double bicep poses. For me, Samson's front double has improved show to show and year over year. His arms have come up considerably, both the biceps and the triceps. His whole inner arm is very good now, in my opinion. As you see, he has nice V taper going into a nice small waist. His waist control and ab control was very good at this show. Then you move into the lower body, and Samson obviously has some of the best legs and the best quads in the open division. Very good overall balance with this pose. The one thing I always said about Samson in this pose is, yes, could his lats be a little bit more dramatic? Could you have a little bit more of a taper? Yes, but I think that's increased dramatically. Now for Hadi also has a very good front double bicep, solid arms into a very pronounced V taper into a nice small waist. And then Hadi always has great legs from the front that are very conditioned. However, for me at this show, I feel like his legs overall, not just in this pose, but overall, were a little bit downsized. And even though the top to bottom is very good, I still think being downsized throws off that perfect balance just a little bit for him. And for that reason, even though Hadi's taper is a little bit more dramatic, I think the overall balance of the pose, all the body parts flowing together, for me, I give it to Samson to make it 1-0.
Hard pass. Hard pass, superset man. Okay. I'm right. I'm marking this all down. Tyler gave the front double to Samson. Are you sticking with Samson on this one?
Man, I think I gave it to Samsung. But it's sometimes in my videos, I think I gave it to Samsung, but I want to clarify something. Sometimes I see some of my biggest fans, so to say, because I think I have some fans that watch all my videos, are complaining that in a video I say that Samsung is winning, and maybe for a different show I say the other one is winning.
Mhm.
It's so close with some of these poses that you're gonna get like your own opinion right away on the
Absolutely.
moment, and it can differ. So as for what we have here, I can see it both ways. I think Samson has a disadvantage having the darker background behind him.
Hmm.
That's a disadvantage. If this pose went to Hadi, I would have been okay with that. If Hadi had the vacuum, it would have been clearer his pose. As they look here, I like Samson's arms more because are more complete. Yeah, he has the imbalance, but Hadi doesn't have the best arms either. Hadi
Okay.
beats with the lats, that's for sure. Hadi
Yes.
has the lats. I don't like Samson's midsection all that much. He needs to pull that stomach in a little bit more because in his lower abs, he hits a vacuum and has like a slight gut in the lower leg. Lower ab is like mountains. I don't know how. You see, you see what I'm saying?
I do. I do. It's a vacuum more towards the top of the rib cage, but
Yeah,
it's still not sunken in all the way as you go down the torso.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
the
I
leg,
get it.
yeah, and the legs. I like Samson more with the legs. Tyler is right with Hardy's legs. They are downsized, and the same for his chest for this year.
Yeah,
And
I
for
I
the
I noticed
later
that.
year, if you remember Hardy in 2019, that just was popping.
Legs as
Now,
well.
yeah, legs as well. Whoa, he had the sweeps and everything and harness. It could
So
go either way. I wouldn't if this was the if it was a tie and this was the pose that would decide the winner, it would suck. I mean, you
sure,
can
yeah.
yeah.
I'm glad this post is first for because of that.
So
I would go with Hottie. I would go with Hottie. I prefer his hardness through the arms. I think his arms are actually better than Samson's. The lat to waist ratio, not the taper, but the lat to waist ratio. Hottie's lats
yeah,
are better. His waist is a
yeah,
bit smaller proportionally. Hottie wins that. In terms of the legs, I do want to say this is the finals. Now I know the popular consensus out there is that Hottie got better at finals. I think some of that is true. Samson also got better at finals for sure. And
yeah, yeah,
I think Samson getting better at finals, even though Hottie did as well, was actually the determining factor. We saw that in the scorecard. Samson only pulled away at finals. So I
yeah.
think the legs, I think like I have the picture pulled up here of the photos. I think his legs, Hottie's legs on average were more cut than Samson's. Although what we see here, and even at minimum, like are Samson's like that much more cut in this screenshot compared to Hottie's? I wouldn't say so, but they're bigger, and with the conditioning being similar, maybe you can go there. I get the whole balance thing. I do, but I think on in terms of a whole body part basis, I'd go with Hot. Per body part basis, I'd go with Hottie, and then in terms of shape, with the better lat to waist ratio, I actually prefer Hottie. I think I'd agree with you that with the vacuum he looked better. I don't think he looks bad here at all. I think since the
No, he
waist
doesn't look bad, but
no,
he would
since
look, yeah.
the waist has been the same since the Arnold, which is good because he brought it down, and I think it's still the same. And I think I saw something floating around on Instagram. I haven't watched this video. I know you have, but I uh I saw something about him comparing the two guys to the Arnold, so we'll stick on that later. But in terms of getting worse than the Arnold, not that much worse than this pose, I would say. And went back and looked. It's going to be a full video on my channel, but we'll talk more about that when we get there. So
Yeah, it depends,
I'm going to
but
split with you guys.
yeah, it depends. But I would say at least the legs were better at the Arnold. But I digress.
All the body parts flowing together. For me, I give it to Samson to make it 1-0. Next up is the front lat spread pose. For me, this is Hottie's weakest pose. As you see here,
Would you agree
Oh,
with that? Yeah,
no.
would you agree with that?
No, when I heard that, I thought I didn't hear it well. So no, it's not Hardy's worst pose. I think the back double is worse than
I would
this
say
pose.
so.
And I know it's not a popular opinion, but the side chest I would say is worse for Hardy than the lat spread.
Okay. Okay, but yeah, that claim immediately does not pass the smell test. But
This one is probably even better than the front double because you don't have the arms in the equation and you have his powerful lats. Those shoulders are a bit of a distraction, but if
yeah, I was gonna say, don't spoil it for me. I want to see. I think I've only seen Tyler talk about the delts once. And I think it was his Arnold UK video. And I don't know if you remember, but like from the Ohio to the Arnold UK, Hottie's delts did get worse. And I think that's the only time I've ever straight up heard Tyler talk about it. Because it's something we all notice. The judge knows it too, but they usually don't talk about it. They see it as, like a black sheep. You can't talk about it. You can talk about some guy's stomach, talk about
Yeah,
anything else,
yeah.
not the delts or sus
But I
things like
could
that.
agree if he was referring to his shoulders as this pose being his worst, I actually I can agree with that. But as we can see, I think his shoulders are much worse in the side chest. So this is not his worst pose, whatever, in my opinion.
His waist
But
obviously looks wider
no,
in this pose compared to his front double bicep pose. You can see he still needs more thickness to the chest. Obviously, he has detailed chest, but he needs more thickness to the chest. And the overall roundness to his outer arms and shoulders is very good. But when you compare it to someone like Samson, you see the difference here. Again, with the legs, good condition quads from the front, but a little bit downsized for me. Now you go to Samson. Samson has very, very round and thick and full outer arms and shoulders. His chest is extremely thick. You see striation and detail in his chest. This pose, in the past couple of shows, you could see he was having a little problem with his midsection. It would be a little bit distended. Here, both Friday and Saturday, it was not at all. The way he hits this
it's
pose, very, very
Yeah, it's like it may not be like a bubble gut, but it's
no, it's not
still
bubble,
I want
but
to see a little more sunken in, you know?
it's not a good look.
Yeah, I would agree. It's like it takes away from the lats a little bit. The taper is not as good as it could be. Like if you did like the half vacuum or at least had a little bit better control, I think it would go a long way.
I
Uh,
mean, Tyler, he could ignore this fact, but he said it like the opposite of what we've seen, and
that's the one criticism I did see of
it doesn't
Samson.
matter.
I
Yeah.
saw this. I saw two main criticisms of Samson throughout the comments: conditioning, overall condition, and stomach control at times. I don't think it was as bad as like the Arnold Ohio. I think that one was pretty bad for a guy that's supposedly aesthetic. But here he was having issues at certain points, and I think this is
Okay,
reminiscent
sure.
of some of the bigger issues that were at play here.
Dramatic V taper. He really gets his lats out very well here. And again, you go down into the lower body. The quads are crazy full. We saw clear separation this time. The balance from the top to bottom makes this one of his strongest poses, in my opinion. So obviously, being one of Hottie's weaker poses to Samson's arguably strongest, I think this was a clear shot for Samson to make it 2 poses to 0. Next up,
Okay. I I don't think Samson actually got a fair shake then. I want to be fair, even though I'm maybe on a little bit more on Hottie's side. With the shadows, with him being a darker guy, the lats aren't being fully shown. I have this other picture here. It's not that much better, over here. I think our faces will cut it off, but you can still see the lats. It's still the stomach issue. Like I know Hottie has the delt issue, and I really know it's the leg imbalance here. The leg imbalance is big. Better lats, yeah, on Hottie, yeah, better lats. Skinnier chest, flatter chest, and at more points with Samson having more chest mass. There was more detail poking through a lot of the times, at least in this pose. And there are a lot of problems, even though with Hottie, even though he does probably win the main thing. So I'm split. I'm split. I had this 50-50 in my own comparison. What do you think?
I had Hardy winning in my own comparison. It was different angles. There's another piece of footage with Gilgo from the prejudging. I'm not sure where is this one from. Is it the finals or
Yeah, no, this
prejudging?
is yeah, this is finals. Which I think is important, actually. I wish
Uh,
maybe we would have gotten both, but it is finals.
yeah, the other one from the prejudging was from a lower angle, and Hardy's lats were visible even more, and that got me there. But I can see it here. I can see where Tyler is coming from. I mean, Hardy's chest really looks flat, especially in comparison to Samson's.
Hmm.
His shoulders as well. If you're focusing on the shoulders alone, you can see the difference. If you're focusing on the chest alone, you can see huge differences. If you focus even on the quads, I see Samson being better than Hardy. if you focus on the midsection and lats, which should be a little more important than the chest and the arms in the lat spread, Hadi is winning. Here in this piece of footage, Samson's lats are basically, I don't know, they are in the dark, in the shadow, but Samson doesn't have like crazy lats in this
Yeah, we
pose.
saw that in the front double. There,
Yeah.
Hottie beat him through the lats.
So it wouldn't be as dominant as Tyler made it to be, but if you want to focus on the shoulders and stuff, yeah, I can see that happen.
Yeah, I would. I think I would. Even though I'm pretty split, I think I'd lean just a little bit more towards Hottie as well. But it is a serious debate. Can you even win a shot, especially if it's close, with an issue as glaring as that one? I know Tyler and I think the judges. I think the sentiment that I get from them is probably not. They've been a lot harsher on it. You had the talking piece of the IFBB, Bob Chigarello, coming out in 2021 saying the reason Hottie didn't win in 2021 was because of the delts. And I think if Bob says something, there's usually like a paper trail to follow, perhaps. So that's their prerogative. I think there's enough here for Hottie to win. I'd actually I'm actually more okay with Samson winning this one than the front double, if you can believe it. But I would still go with Hottie. All right.
Yeah, I'm
I
okay
think
with
this was
with his calls. I mean, I had Hardy winning based on the prejudging, but here, as I see it, and I agree with his arguments. So I would give both of them to Samson so far.
Oh, you're giving the okay. Okay. I see how it is.
this was a clear
Oh.
shot for Samson to make it 2 poses to 0. Next up is the side chest pose. So when we look at Hottie, again, one of his weaknesses, I would say, if he has one, is he needed more size to his legs from the side. Even at his best, which in my opinion was the Arnold Classic this year, the Arnold Classic US, you could still see he could still use a little bit more of that thickness to the side leg. So here the legs were down a little bit, and even really his overall conditioning, which is Hottie's trademark, is the striations through his chest and obviously the very, very detailed midsection. For me, we saw that Hottie's chest was not as detailed this time around, both on Friday and on Saturday. He just was lacking that trademark skinless striation chest, and he needs that because his chest is on the flatter side. Now, again, shoulders and arms were solid. The whole pose is still a very solid pose, but he was going up against an all-time best Samson. It's not the front lat spread, it's the side chest for Samson's strongest pose. Arms and shoulders, very full, very big, very round. Chest, extremely full. Also seeing detail and striation through it. Midsection, flat and in check. Side leg, very dramatic. Quad to hamstring balance, hamstring drop. We see the lines in it. We see the separation. This pose shows off the overall muscularity of Samson and really is a pose where I think you see the massive size difference between these two competitors. So for me, another clear pose for.
Okay, I'll back it up. But I got some interesting the claims in that one were interesting. Okay. Let's talk about the side leg. Would you say Hottie needs more thickness to his side leg?
For his proportions, I'm fine with what he's got.
Hmm.
I mean, proportionally, it's the same. It's the same with like Samson. Maybe Samson has a little bit of a fuller outer quad, but
Yeah.
he's bigger overall. So
I would agree. I think in terms of like better balance between ham and quad, I think I'd actually go with Hottie. I don't agree that Samson has better balance between muscle groups, but he's obviously bigger. And I know Tyler was like, "Oh, look at the detail on Samson's side leg." I mean, is it really that much better than Hottie's? Especially like this is
no, the
finals.
details clearly not. I mean, he
Yeah,
was probably he's having a narrative. He's trying to. I mean, I agree that Samson won this Olympia fairly, but Tyler is trying to justify his their positions by saying some things that are not there. That's
right.
my opinion. I'm not gonna lie. For me, Samson is winning this pose, no doubt. But some things Tyler says I can't agree with. Like, yeah, like you mentioned, the details in the side leg. It's not an argument.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there are some things that Hadi just definitely wins. I think like in terms of the midsection, it's no contest. I know Samson has the upper abs, but like Hadi's probably not going to get beat there. And then like in the arm and delt, he's bigger. Well, he's just as big as Samson and harder, but yet again, the forward one is lumpy, the far one is pointy. Does this affect the judging? I would
Yeah,
assume it has to.
yeah.
It has to. Like this is
That's why I said the side chest is worse than the front leg spread. I mean, look at the front there. That's night and day. There's something there.
yeah.
It's looking at me. I think it's moving, even though the video is on pause. No, that's a big issue for Hardy, and it's always gonna be like an excuse for the judges to drop him, even if he is the best on the stage.
Right.
With that there, it's always gonna have like a door open for the judges. And actually, since I'm here, I don't think they're ever gonna award Hardy a Mr. Olympia.
Again.
Hardy again, yeah,
Yeah,
again, because he was awarded in 22. No, they won't award him
I would
another
agree.
Mr. Only if they don't have any choice, like say Samson and Derek and everyone can't make the Olympia next year or in a couple of years, and Hadi is the only top competitor doing it, and he's like 100%. Maybe then they won't have a choice.
Yeah.
But if it's close like it was this year, last year it wasn't as close. He was clearly probably better than Derek and still didn't want. I don't think they are gonna give. And probably I'm gonna I don't know, I'm gonna make the Middle East fans even more furious if they're listening to this. They're gonna have another argument like that guy SUPERSETMA'S said that and so on. But yeah, sorry for Hadi. His That's my opinion.
I no, I would agree. And I think actually most Middle Eastern fans are probably picking up on what you are putting down here. I don't think he wins another one. Um that like legitimately Derek Derek may have just as good as chance as Hadi, even though he was lower. And that's a crazy thing to say, but I legitimately just don't see Hadi. It's not like I see Derek as a strong Mr. Olympia. I don't think he should have won the first time. I think Hadi is damaged goods to the IFBB. Not to me, not to me, but he has these issues. He has these political, disadvantages against him. And then like I will he won in 2022. So I want to ask you, I think we mainly agree on this. Who does the IFBB hate more, Nick Walker or Hadi Chupin?
I think probably Nick Walker because
Really?
yeah, because Nick Walker has that structure, and most of the fans won't push it so hard for him to win like they do with Hadi. So it's easier for the IFBB to just
Ignore it.
ignore Nick Walker. But I think they rather have like a physique like Hadi is representing the sport than a physique like Nick's.
Yeah, maybe
That's
less personal with Nick, but on a physique basis, I think they like
yeah,
Hadi's more. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. My point.
But yeah, I think 2022 was kind of the situation you were describing. Like Rami was out and he had also made some mistakes. Let's just say that. And then they're looking at Nick Walker, which is like the second best option. Really, he shouldn't have been third. But then they look at him, they're like, well, we're not we're not going with that. Derek's too small at this point in time. And we gave him a special invite too. Like that would look a little bad. And then now it's we got to go with Hottie. And also, like, I'm not to touch on it too much, but I'm just thinking, like, Derek still has never won a pro show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't
He's
know. I don't know.
qualified for life.
And yeah, exactly. He's qualified for life. I was making the argument in one of my videos that I said he should strike while the iron is somewhat warm. If he's going to win it, it'll have to be next year. If next year goes by and he doesn't pick it back up, I don't think
I
he
think
will.
no, no.
So he should forego the Arnold, forego everything, and just focus on trying to be the best for the next year's Olympia. Then the Arnold and everything can come after in 2026. But it it just he hasn't won a pro show, and I was like, well, he takes the immediate qualification from placing top three. And then I completely forgot. It's not that he's placed top three and he gets that immediate qualification. It's that he's literally a Mr. Olympia. So as long as he gets IFBB permission, he can compete anytime he wants, which
Yeah.
is crazy. So you had anyway to go back to it. You had Samson in this pose. Tyler had Samson. Um, I will say when I was looking at the pictures, I had Hottie for one word, detail. And I was even close. I think I split this pose between finals and prejudging. But now I'll go by this video. And by this video, I would say Samson is just a little too big. And maybe it's the video washing out the details on Hottie and actually making look Samson a little better. I doubt that's actually the case. But I would go with Samson in this one. So we're all in
See the
agreement there.
massive size difference between these two competitors. So for me, another clear pose for Samson to make this 3 poses to 0. Next up is the back double bicep pose. And surprisingly, Samson brought this pose up a lot. You see from the back, he has crazy hamstrings. They were separated, they were detailed. Samson's probably someone that's never going to get crazy separated glutes, but you still see the condition that he was in, even with the glutes here. The back of his arms and shoulders improved a lot. We see the bicep peak. We see all the detail and separation in his arms. His shoulders are the best they ever looked. Moving into, which was once his weakest body part, his back, he improved the taper and dramatically improved the depth and thickness of his back. So again, top to bottom balance, very, very good for him. Now here for Hottie, I think this is where we saw that it wasn't Hottie in his normal self, because normally his back double bicep is very strong. It was probably his most improved pose from last year's Olympia to the Arnold. So it was a little bit surprising to see that from the back here, we didn't see the same as we saw in Samson, the roundness and the separation and the fullness with the shoulders and the arms. And then the back itself, he was actually a little bit soft. So we didn't see that separated, grainy, dense, hard look, which he's always harder from the front than he is from the back. But this time, we can notice a softness in this back double bicep pose. Go down into the lower body. Obviously, he was in shape, but his leg width and his hamstring detail definitely could have been better. We've seen it better before, and this was a pose where we saw that Hottie, I don't think, was at 100% of his best. So, very surprisingly to me, I ended up giving it.
Yeah, he's going to give that. I don't think this one is up for debate. I've said this. I think I may have even said this back at the Arnold. I think I had Samson winning over Hottie in the Arnold. Like Hottie, and I know you maybe get some pushback on this as well, but Hottie has never had a very good back. Like it's average at best. Um, Good hamstrings some of the time. Not again, like Tyler said, he's usually more separated from the front, and his back is just it's all right. But yeah, once the judges see you crisp and hard, and that's the standard you set for yourself, and then you backtrack even a little bit, it's hard to overcome that. And then also the back is just not as good. And then Samson, he just completely transformed this pose. Actually has lines in the glutes now. The back is doubly thick compared to Hottie's, very wide. There's really this is actually the clearest pose of the comparison so far for me.
When did you see Hardy last time having a crisp back in the back double?
2019 Vancouver.
My point exactly.
Yep.
I
Yep.
think I think Tyler is talking out of his ass when he says that Hardy improved his back a lot from the Olympia to the Arnold.
Yeah.
It was a bit drier overall, but nothing special because he was fuller at the Olympia, so the Arnold had uh, that
Yeah.
drier look. But no, I mean his back has been like this for since 2019 basically. Maybe 2021 was pretty a little
Yeah, he
bit
was pretty dry that year, but I
yeah
can't remember
dry
specifically.
and lower body as well. The Vancouver version, the hamstrings and the glutes were like Dorian-esque, and the Christmas tree was Dorian-esque at the Vancouver, and it never been the same again.
I don't know if I
So
could
I
find
don't know
that
when
quickly.
Hadi had actually a strong back double, maybe strong against some
I
other
mean, who's
competitor.
his recent competition be? Like Rami has had no back. Brandon's was already kind of a foregone conclusion that he wins. So like,
Yeah, look at that. Look at those glutes, those hamstrings. I mean, if we're comparing him to that, yes, but
Yeah, and even then, it's like, is it the most detailed? Like he is peeled, but like in terms of like genetic details,
no, no, no.
yeah,
For him, I mean for him.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right for sure. This is definitely, and like even at the 2019 Olympia, it wasn't like this. It was, and then like we were talking about, look at the quad sweeps. Like none of these photos are photoshopped. Like these are all
Crazy.
on the NPC News Online
And the
website.
chest and the chest as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Not
Just
the
yeah, look for this Christmas tree. Yeah.
well. Here's the rear double, and I'll skip ahead to the Christmas tree. Yeah. I mean, even then, like he's not the hardest in the back by any
No,
stretch of the imagination.
no,
The glutes and hams are better than they are today for
yeah.
sure, but the back, is it that much worse today? Not really.
No, no,
And
no,
even the Christmas tree, it's like he's shredded, but the details just aren't there, and
yeah.
he's not like
No,
shredded everywhere else, but not like crisp, not
no, no.
saran wrapped in the back.
Yeah. Agreed,
So,
yeah.
so yeah, let's see. I would we're all in accordance there.
This pose to
I'm actually
Samson,
very interested in the
four
real lat
poses
spread
to
though.
0. Next up is the back lat spread pose. So the back lat spread is one of Hadi's strongest poses. Even though his back looked softer than normal in his back double bicep, the amount of thickness that he really carries in his back shines through even when he's not at his best in this pose. Very, very wide lats, very thick. We still saw the detail in the lines in the back here. Again, the lower body has been better, but it was in shape. We could see the hamstrings. The leg width was solid. I think this was one of Hadi's strongest poses on the day. Now for Samson, again, lower body is in, very big, separated, look great. The back itself actually improved a lot. I thought he was very comparable with not only Hadi, but also Derek as well in this pose. Even when he was hitting this pose, to me, I still feel like he could pull those lats out just a little bit more. It's the best he ever hit the pose. It's the best his back ever looked, but it still feels like there's something more there that he could give himself more of that width in that illusion. But as you can see, we saw the separation and we see the thickness and the depth to his back. This pose has improved tremendously for him, but with how strong it still was for Hadi, I gave this pose to Hadi to make it 4 poses to 1.
Okay. So who would you give this pose to?
I said it in my videos as well. I thought it was close between all three of them, including Derek. I think Derek dropped down, dropped the ball, and got on the same level with the other two for this year, because last year Hadi was like Derek, it's clearly Derek. For me, he improved his back for this year, but the softness in overall made it look worse than last year, even though for me it was like bigger, at least in the back
Mhm.
lat spread. And coupled together, I think he 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 dropped a level to Samson's level, and the same for Hadi. I mean, I think Hadi was better in this pose last year. He's great here. I think he probably has the best argument to win. I can agree with that, especially because he has the camera disadvantage here. So this is
Exactly, yeah.
like Samson is in the middle of the focus uh, in the video that Tyler is reviewing. So Hadi is a bit on the side. He can have the advantage maybe for a thickness and depth point of view and a bit from the side, but he's clearly far away from the camera. So it could be a disadvantage. But overall, yeah, I could agree that Hadi takes this pose, but it was close between all three of them, in my opinion.
So I have it here. I think looking at the photos again, finals, it's close. So and then we're looking at the finals footage, so I'll say my thoughts on that. But prejudging with Hadi with having a more direct angle, I would give him detail aspects, width aspects, just by a hair. Lower body in terms of detail, yeah, but in terms of thickness, no. I don't
No.
think anyone's beating Samson in that regard. But then jumping over to finals, I I think Samson is more separated. The lower body girth is there. It's close, and I think this would definitely change prejudging the finals. But going by what I see here, I'd actually give this one to Samson. Did you say Hottie?
Uh, yes, I can agree with Hadi winning, but all three of them, like Either one of them can win it for me. I can find arguments. It's close. If you ask me who I'm preferring, usually I prefer Hari in this pose, but as they look here in this footage, I'm not that convinced. But
Yeah.
from memory, Hari is usually better in this pose.
Yeah, same.
Next up is
So
the
you're
side
having
tricep
like
pose.
completely opposed results for every pose.
Yeah, I
Are
think so.
there?
I think I flipped every
So this
time.
is the first one that Hari is actually winning for Tyler, and you said Sam. You said
Yeah,
yeah, you're like a contrarian. You should,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah,
I
you should get involved in the stock market and shit because
I
we need to be compared there.
it's not going to get better for the next pose because I've the side tricep is one I've gone back and forth on a
So
lot, but
Samson in the
we'll
side
see.
tricep pose, I think, was just doing himself a little bit of a disservice with his leg placement. He has crazy legs from the side. You want to show that size with the same placement that he has in the side chest. When you place your legs this way, you really take away that hamstring and the hamstring drop when you have it the way he does. Now, I don't know the reason, but I would think the reason he did this is because flexibility wise, it was really hard for him to keep his upper body upright before to really be able to extend the tricep and also keep his midsection flat, and we saw the abs. So upper body wise, I thought his positioning was great for this pose, but lower body wise, it was not. Then also, obviously, we posed these guys a lot of times, and he wasn't even always able to get into this pose the best way possible. Sometimes his upper body still wasn't upright. He was still leaning a little bit forward. And really, when he was doing that, lose detail, lose size, lose fullness. Now, for Hadi, the side tricep is always a very strong pose for Hadi. Why? Because we see all the detail in his midsection. His chest is still striated, not as much as normal, but we still see the detail there. The side leg shows off the conditioning. And for him, it's still very balanced upper and lower body here. I think because of the detail that was shown in this pose, Samson kind of taking away some of the detail and fullness, which would be his advantage here, I gave this pose to Hadi to make it 4 poses to 2.
I will say, let's start with the posing. Do you think Samson's like I don't get it. Like I think Samson is one of the few that has thick enough legs that can pull off this Dorian style of execution, and I think it looks absolutely fine. Like I actually have more problems with the upper body. Like Tyler said, it was perfect. I think he could maybe twist a little bit more. I think there's things he could do that just tweak it a little bit more. In terms of the lower body, I wouldn't change a thing. What do you think on that?
I mentioned it like 100 times in my videos after the Olympia. I love his execution here. I think it's much improved overall from what
Yes.
he usually was doing. I don't know what Tyler is seeing here, but he's the professional. I'm not. I like Samson and I have Samson winning this. And I'll tell you why. Because yes, if you look at Hadi here, he looks statuesque, indeed.
Yeah,
But how many poses will you give to Hadi because of his abs and his chest? Because you give
exactly.
him the abs and thighs, all people are claiming he's winning like the most muscular unanimously because of the abs and chest, and everyone is ignoring his weak, very weak arms and shoulders. That's the thing I can't stand in the most muscular. So now you're telling me you're gonna give the side triceps to Hadi because of the abs and chest again? I don't agree with that. Yeah,
I
you
think
of course you have to be complete everywhere. It's not only the lateral head of the triceps, but look at Samson. His chest is popping. His
mhm,
midsection, you can't take anything away from his midsection. He doesn't have hardest midsection and he doesn't need to
right.
because he has the triceps, he has the execution, he has the calves, he has the side leg. It's fine for me. It's not like I don't know. Tyler was just no, I don't know. He's the professional. They know what they want to see. They are paid to do that. But me as a fan, I learned to do this. I learned judging from Terminator and Mark's
Yeah.
Max Marker, binge watching their channels. And I always knew that Phil Heath was winning the side triceps because of the freaking triceps. And that's how I see this pose. Of course, if Samson had a bubble gut or something, it wouldn't matter his triceps, but the way
Yeah.
he looked from top to bottom and having the triceps double the size of Hadi's, that there's no contest for me.
So I would yeah, the posing thing is weird for me. Like I would say Samson's side leg is probably better than Hottie's in this one, or at least on par. Like it's a different thing, but because Hottie's more conditioned, Samson's just bigger. But in terms of when Hottie wins this pose, I remember one time Jake told me he had Hottie winning this pose, and I was like, over a particular guy, I can't remember who, but I was like, how? Because to me, like Nick Walker, Dorian Yates, these guys have not just the triceps, it's the thickness from the side. Like Hottie's not good for a traditional reason in this pose. The midsection is a very important part, but what's more important is the overall thickness from the side, the delts, the arms, the chest, especially the chest has to be very thick. The side leg has to be thick. And in terms of that, Samson definitely wins. And I'm gonna go with Adi. That's it. Hey, it is what it is. I let's see here. On the photos, I had Samson winning at one of these. Yeah, I think I had Samson winning.
Samson is winning this one for me. I wouldn't even think about something else.
I
Look at
agree. It's the tricep,
look
it's
at
the
look at that.
pecs.
Look at that.
Okay, but
That's
it's the midsection. It's the midsection, bro.
look at how these obliques. He should win the back double for that.
That's a good point. I need to go back and correct that one. Um, hey,
And I'm
don't.
not a body hater for everyone. I I did a ton of videos with him stating that he deserves to win 2021 Olympia. He deserves to win 2019 Olympia. I'm not a
Mhm.
body hater as people claim it to be, and probably last year too. But
Mm. It's a dilemma. I look. My gut reaction is to go with Hottie, probably because ooh, wow, the details, shiny and new. Maybe it's the angle as well, but I do just kind of prefer him. Like, I mean, you are right. The tricep is like non-existent, well, not non-existent, but the tricep is no contest. Like Samson is much thicker than Hottie, much more massive in the tricep. The pecs, in terms of mass, it's no contest again. Who did Tyler give this to? I think I'll just disagree with that. Did Tyler give it to Hottie?
body, I think. So you should switch to
Yeah,
Samson.
you're right. I should I should switch this. At finals? At finals, I don't know. He was more shredded at, you know what? I'm sticking with Hottie. I'm sticking with Hottie. You're seething. You're coping and seething right now. Hey, for reference, Nick Walker is my favorite side tricep pose of all time. Even I don't know if it's better than Dorian Yates. I wouldn't go that far, but in terms of my favorite, Nick Walker. Nick Walker has
For
my
you,
favorite side
Dorian is
tricep.
the best ever in the site, right?
I think Dorian is the best ever.
Feel for
Yeah. It's like, okay, take the best version of Phil to do it and the best version of Dorian. I think Phil wins, but Dorian brought better side triceps more often.
I
Yes. And by the end of his career, Phil's gut was sticking out more than the pecs.
so did Dorian's. Check out that
I
97
I
site,
don't
right?
think so. I
It,
don't think even in
in
97.
97, Dorian's gut was thicker than his chest
I
in
think
the
you're
side.
jealous. Would you say this to his face?
No, he's
Dorian used to
gonna
beat people up. I think he went to jail.
yeah.
Anyway,
I
um,
would love to meet him. Actually, I think I'm gonna have probably the most interesting conversation with him from all the pros. I
him and Tom Platz. I love Tom
don't know Tom
Platz.
Clancy that much, but Dorian would definitely be good talk.
Yeah, I think both are what happens when you have a young man that never stops thinking. But Tom Platz is extremely upbeat, extremely optimistic. Dorian is a little more reserved. Not that he's not optimistic, but he's a very real person, very realist. you know? So two dynamics there. But
By the way, I should send you a video with Dorian with the other stuff we're talking on the other podcast.
I saw it
You
again
saw
and I
that?
liked it with the project. If anyone knows, I liked it with the Project Bodybuilding account. It's out there. But anyway, I think we could skip over the abs and thighs. I'll just let Tyler talk through it. Do you disagree?
No, how is
Okay,
the
yeah,
knee?
yeah. I am interested to see what he says. I think Samson improved the pose, but we'll see what Tyler has to say. But Hottie, it's a foregone
Next
conclusion.
up is the abdominal and thigh pose. Now, Samson looked great this year in his ab and thigh. Again, like I said, he was having some trouble controlling the midsection at previous shows. Here he was not. The midsection was dialed in. The abs were clear. The lines were deep. He has great quads. Overall, he has very nice V taper flowing into that nice tight waist here. So,
Okay, okay. It's just like he talks like, "Oh, the abs are super deep." The V taper is really good, and then he shows this. It's rough. I'll tell you that. Like vacuum, Hottie beats him, has his number. Derek beats Samson in the vacuum. Martin probably beats Samson in the vacuum. Um, and then in terms of the abs, even when Samson is crunched down on them, they're just not super good. It's like a 4 pack, shallow, but
from the top
They're
of his
better
hands
than
all the way down.
before,
yeah, yeah,
but he's never gonna have like good abs.
I would agree.
Very balanced, very strong overall pose. However, he's going against Hottie, whose ab and thigh pose is, the best in the IFBB Pro League. Hottie's still very strong, all the detail through his midsection, great taper, quads are still conditioned, they're still there. For this pose, for me, Hottie still has a nice overall balance because in this pose, you're not expanding the lats all the way out, right? So it doesn't really look like any imbalance. Still just such a super strong pose for him that even though Samson improved this pose tremendously, you can still see a little bit of the size difference for him as well. I give this pose to
Okay,
Hottie.
and let's just watch that clip back of Samson moving. Are we calling this like a? Are we calling this impeccable stomach control? Like, are we looking like at this and we're like, oh man, this is the standard now? Like, it's an
No, no.
issue. It's an
And
issue.
that vacuum in the abs, I mean the vacuum he pulls out in the front double, it's fine, but he shouldn't do the vacuum in the abs and thighs because it's like half of a vacuum
Hmm.
and it is doing more bad than good. I don't know.
I would agree.
But Tyler's defense, I think he has pictures with in front of him on a tablet or something, and he's not commenting what we're seeing to his
Mm.
defense. I think
You're s-
someone who edits these videos is doing the pauses and everything, and about the abs and thighs when when Tyler was saying that Samson has like uh, shredded abs or what keep cut abs and so on, and he was actually pulling a semi vacuum that was out of sync. So I guess that's what happened.
Yeah, okay. I would agree because I can't you just can't look at that the vacuum or the half vacuum and then the abs and thighs and say, man, and I'd be interested. I would agree. He is looking at a different reference than is on the screen, but I'd be
Yeah.
interested to see what picture he could possibly have of Samson to say that anyway. It's like, here's a picture I took from the NBC News Online website. Is
No, there is actually. There is. If you look at his individual routine from the prejudging
mid,
on ABC, his abs and thighs looks actually good. And his abs look actually good.
mid?
To make it 4 poses to 3.
Good for Samson.
Then
Yeah,
last
yeah.
up would
Good for
be,
Samson.
your favorite, most muscular pose. Both hitting basically the same pose, except Hottie hits his most muscular with his knuckles together. Samson grabs the
Martin
wrist.
wins.
Now, again, here, I
True.
think it was a pose that surprised me because normally Hottie is very, very tough to beat in this pose because of the detail through his chest, because of the detail in the midsection. Basically a lot of his strengths are on display in this pose. The way he hits it, he's still able to be super wide as well from shoulder to shoulder and have that muscularity displaying in the outer arms, the shoulders. But Samson finally nailed his conditioning. Was he the hardest guy on stage? No. But again, the chest is bursting full. We're still seeing striations. The size and the roundness of the shoulders and the arms. We see the detail and still the separation to his abs. Plus, with his lower body and being as big and separated as it was, it's the most muscular pose for a reason, and this displayed how big Samson truly was at this show. You see the size difference between both of these guys. For me, even with Hadi having a little bit extra detail, Samson had much more size and still good detail. Made me give Samson this pose 5 poses to 3.
Okay.
And
I've heard enough of this blasphemy. But I think you actually fall in the camp of Tyler Mannion here. So what do you think?
Man, what I think is that if Tyler would do a new video and just find all the arguments to give these poses the other way around, except for the abs and thighs, there's no other way around there.
Mm,
He could do it, and he and people would agree with that because
yeah.
it was actually very close. If Hadi won this show, I wouldn't have had any problem with that. It sucks to be him to lose it to by such a close call. It sucks to be Hadi 2 years in a row to get that. I don't know. He's getting the Kai Green vibes maybe, but at least Kai was losing to the same guy. I don't know. It sucks to be Hadi. He's good. He's gonna be good again at the Arnold at the Olympia next year. But like I said, if somebody will be close to him,
Yeah,
that
there's no
somebody
room for error.
that somebody's gonna win over him.
So I get, I get, I make this argument all the time. Most musculars for most muscular guys. But have you ever heard of this thing called detail? The detail. It's crucial in a pose like this. Hottie has the more detailed legs, the better midsection as a whole, not just more detail, better midsection as a whole. Um, Better delts actually. I don't notice the issue with them as much here, and they're more capped off.
Really
Samson has
good.
a weird roundness, but in terms of from from the cap off of the delt down to the wrist is Samson's territory. He has the thicker forearms, the thicker bis, the thicker tris, and it's not that just like he's thicker than Hottie. Hottie has those short biceps with the skinny forearms. It opens up a gap on the physique. But then I failed to mention earlier, Hottie does win the chest. I would say I don't think Samson has enough striations. And like looking at, I'm gonna pull up the photos again. This one, I think at finals it was closer, but at prejudging, I would say Hottie probably won a little more easy. So did you have Samson or Hottie here?
Man, I usually go with Samson because I value the arms and the most muscular, but I can see where you're coming from with yeah, that what Hadi brings here in with the chest and the core, it's really incredible. I mean, it's unique in its own way, and
Right.
so such a misfortune for him to have like underwhelming arms because this could be like the greatest, most muscular ever.
Right.
If he had Nick Walker's arms, man, just
Yeah. Even someone like Samson, like if you took that same thickness between the elbow and then the delt, if his biceps just inserted a little lower, like it would change the game fundamentally.
and the
So
tricep as well. I think the lateral head, especially the left arm, if you look and it's really
I think there's an issue there. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if we go back and look at photos, I kind of think the triceps may be receding.
you didn't heard it from me.
Yeah, you didn't hear it from me. It happens. It happens. It happens. Man, I woke up today, my elbow was in pain, in pain. So I can't wait to deal with this problem. But when it happens, it happens. And I think it is happening to Hottie. I noticed it back at the Arnold at first. The triceps. He's always had like short heads of both, but on the biceps and on the triceps, but they're creeping
Yeah,
up just a little bit
yeah.
more.
And shoulders are pointy.
Like
The
the elbow. Yeah, they are. They are. Um, I still give it to Hottie. Like I get it. I could go with Samson as well. I think I think maybe this one would be really valuable to look at in person because I think even with the Gilco footage, like the house lighting made every
yeah.
bit of footage dark. So I think really seeing it in person probably helps Samson a lot. Even if that actual amount is very little. But I would go with Hadi based on what I can see.
If I would ask you who has less weak points in this pose, who would be that?
Maybe I know maybe this sounds a little backward. Maybe about even. Like Hadi has the arms, the short arms, forearms. I'd group that into one thing. Samson's midsection is kind of an issue, and then the overall softness. It's worse in other areas, like the delts. Oddly smooth for me. I don't like how they're uncharacteristically smooth, even from the chest. But I would say in terms of just actual blemishes on the physique, Hadi is probably slightly more flawed, but also has the more freak factor in terms of conditioning. Samson's more freak factor in size. So
Yeah.
it's time to make your choice. Own up
Mark
to it.
Martin is winning this one.
Oh, okay. I would concede. I would concede, but who does?
Man, I had Samson based on this this screenshot right here. It I would go 51% with Hadi.
Oh, okay, okay. So let's let Tyler give his final thoughts. I'll see who had winning each pose and add them up, and then we'll give our final thoughts on at least these two.
Still good detail. Made me give Samson this pose 5 poses to 3. So as you can see, there were some clear shots for each guy, but there was also some very, very close poses. I mean, the front double bicep, very close pose. The back lat spread, very close pose. The most muscular, very close pose. So as you see, the judges were very split on both Friday and Saturday. I think the difference for me was that Samson came back even better on Saturday night, which is also an improvement for him as well. He hasn't always done that, even at shows he's won before. He's kind of basically stayed the same most of the times that he did well. Some of the times he came back just a touch worse. This time he came back much, much better. Testament to Hadi as well. I think Hadi also came back better on Saturday night. But for me, going pose by pose, I think Samson was able to edge him out, on both nights.
Edge.
But two very, very great competitors. They both had amazing years. Hadi ended up beating him 2 times at the beginning of the year. Samson now figured it out and took home the Mr. Olympia title. And I can't wait to see these two guys, going toe-to-toe for the next couple of years. Now, in third
All
place,
right, we'll get to Derek in a second. So I will say here are the scores. Tyler had Samson winning 5 poses to Hadi's 3. I had Hadi winning 5-3. You had Samson winning 5-3. So I'm the only one that had Hadi winning, but we all had the same ratio of poses. It was all 5-3, but I'm the only one that had Hadi winning. So is that concurrent with your other videos? I haven't been I've been working on my own, so I haven't been able to watch anything.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. I told you I was on the fence with this one because it was actually close. I think I had Hadi winning the front lat spread, and then Samson winning the most muscular in my videos. But
And
based
then
on this
then
based
you
on this
flipped them.
picture, yeah, I thought on this picture that was the screen pause on Tyler's video. I could see Hadi winning. It's close, like I said, it's close and could have gone either way.
Yeah. So
And
I
that
do
that yeah, go on,
I
please.
I want to preface no, I want to bring something up that Tyler mentioned earlier. He said Samson nailed his conditioning. And I think there is kind of a Freudian slip in that thing. That's not necessarily wrong, but in that statement, it kind of proves a point that I had. Samson nailed his condition, right? His condition. This is the best we've ever seen Samson. He nailed his condition. Hadi did not nail his condition. Was he still in better condition than Samson? Overall, top to bottom, yeah. Yeah. The back, maybe not. But everything else, when you add up all the angles together, Hadi was more peeled, more detailed on average. So Hadi still goes a little bit backward. Samson goes forward. Do you think judges should reward improvements like that? Like, because they always talk about it and then like they never when people ask him about it, it never, they say, no, we go by what's on the day of the show. But I've seen Tyler bring up in several videos, well, he got better in this shot. To me, I don't care. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. They should be judged by how they look next to each other in that particular moment, and that's why I hate Tyler's review from last year because when
Exactly.
comparing, yeah, when comparing Hardy to Derek, he was always pointing out that Derek improved that from 2022. Derek improved this from 2022. No, I don't. Yeah, it's a huge impact when you have that for sure, and probably at least subconsciously is going to make you lean to that guy that does this, but it shouldn't be like a criteria. Let's see how I remember, because it's not like he's on the stage and he has a picture from last year and he compares it. It's like he remembered from last time he saw him, and sometimes they talk like so big shit, like we've noticed here with the Arnold Classic back for Hardy. They they don't even remember what happened 2 years ago at a smaller show. So they are acting
Exactly.
like they have everything in their heads. So no, that's BS for me.
Yeah, and I think it's not just about improvements with that point I was making. Like again, Samson, uh, Tyler's quote, Samson nailed his conditioning. I feel like because we've seen Samson at a certain point in terms of conditioning for so long, and that we're just like, oh, if he just got, everyone said it, if he was just in a little bit more condition, he would win the Olympia. And then he finally shows a, a nibble, a little
That's a
crumb
good
of
point, actually.
improvement. And then everyone's like, holy shit, man. Oh, holy, like,
Think about if he would do that on purpose, you know? I'm gonna keep these fools believing I can't get in condition, and then I'm gonna win the freaking Olympia.
Yeah, and it works the exact opposite way with Hottie. He's been in condition so long that when he slips up just a little bit, even though he's still more conditioned than his
Yeah,
competition.
you have a point here because everybody is like setting a standard for themselves, and they are
Mhm.
compared with that standard, and it's not fair to do that. If actually on stage Hardy looks better than Samson, but Hardy looks worse than Eddie Arnold's, like in this example, he shouldn't be like punished for that. He fucking beats Samson. Sorry for. So I don't agree with that, and you have a great point here.
Yeah,
But I don't think I agree with I I agree with it so much that I would think this show should, like, it could have gone either way, but I don't think it should have gone like necessarily to Hadi, because after all, this is not a conditioning contest. Hadi has a standard, and he has that standard because he lacks certain other things. Like he's compensating with that conditioning what he doesn't have. He doesn't have a great stature. He doesn't have, like, he sucks in certain poses, as we've seen. So the conditioning brings him in the conversation to be the
right.
winner. Because
It's a selling point.
if he didn't have the conditioning, he wouldn't be in that conversation. If he had Samson's conditioning, Hadi wouldn't be probably top five. So he
I think
needs
that's
that.
fair.
Yeah, he needs that to be on the same level with such a more gifted guy like Samson or Andrew. And that's the same with Nick Walker. Nick Walker needs to be like super shredded and have the best guns, the best, so many things, the best hamstrings, one of the best backs, just to be compared with these guys that have worse arms, worse backs, maybe not such great hamstrings, like very important things, but because of the overall flow, Nick is gonna always lose to these guys. So the same thing with Hardy.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
if this was a conditioning contest, Hardy would be Mr. Olympia every year, but it's not that.
So in my video, I said, I don't think I'm biased towards any one person, but I am biased in how I judge. I fall into 90s era judging. It's like, why did Dorian beat Flex? Why did Ronnie end up beating Flex twice? And it set the reason we got Ronnie for so long and Jay for so
Let's
long and
talk
then
about
Phil.
it.
Yeah, it's like that's the reason. Like I'm gonna make I'm not gonna tell you about this video actually because I know I know you'll I'll tell you. I know you'll make it, but maybe we could do something together. But the most important bodybuilding decisions 1993, 98, 2018, and now a fourth one. And I think this did set a precedent, 2024. I think if you take a look at bodybuilding, those like 1993 ushered in the massive class era. 1998 doubled down on it. 1999 was, they're basically the same thing. It reaffirmed that. And then 2018, they're like, we can't stand for this anymore. 2024 is the solidification, the solidifying of that moment. I think we'll look back on it as the same way we do 2018, but even with
I
greater magnitude.
100% agree with what you said there, and I didn't think of it like before. 93 was definitely, it changed the sport, the game changer, as they say. 1908 and 99, of course, but with 90, I think it was closer in 93 between Flex and Doran than it
Yeah,
was in 98. I think
I would agree.
at the time people acted like that was close. When looking back at that
No,
videos of
Ronnie was a freak.
Ronnie, Flex would never beat Ronnie, man. Would never beat Ronnie because I don't see it, man. I don't see it. I don't think it ever was it should ever be a debate. Yeah, we should give Flex his flowers, his this and that, but in no way, shape, or form he was at Ronnie's level. Terminator actually did a video for 99, and I think he had in 99 he had Cormier over Flex, and 98 I think he had Nasser over Flex. So maybe Flex was a bit overrated. He had the gifts, but didn't deliver. He wasn't competitive with Ronnie, at least no way. And then 2018, that was probably the biggest shift. They clearly said, man, we need to focus on the freaking abs, on the freaking midsections. No more bubble guts. I don't care how more muscular you are, you need to fix this. And then 2019
Yeah, they
2019
couldn't.
was strange. If Sean Roden was there on stage with a close look to what he brought in 2018, he would have been double.
Yes.
2020 and 2021, it
No,
was
I think Sean would have won both years. I think the Olympia has been so hungry to do this since 2018. Like, and they couldn't. What they did with Sean, they're like, well, we can't, well, we're trying to set a standard here. And
yeah.
I get it from a
But the
business
results are
perspective.
good, man. I mean, the results are awesome. Look at it. The top four at your Mr. Olympia Open, they all hitting vacuums now.
Mhm.
And I was like a few years ago, I was doing Photoshop works just to show the audience
Yep.
what would it look like. I mean, we have to appreciate that.
Yeah,
We
tell
have
someone
like
that everyone in
bubble
the
guts
top four,
everywhere.
tell someone back in 2016 that everyone in the top four was
Yeah,
going to hit vacuums.
yeah,
They wouldn't believe it. They'd be like, "What? I don't even like bodybuilding anymore." But
yeah, exactly.
but no,
So yeah,
like
you nailed it with what you said, and yeah, 2024 will probably prove to be a new era for guys like Samson and Andrew Jack to take over. I don't know who's in line, like with that
Martin.
kind of physique. Martin, Martin is gonna get the same treatment Nick got because at first he was very popular and then everyone got bored of his physique. Martin is gonna get the treatment Derek got because in 2022 everyone was on his riding his D because that's freaking vacuum and V-taper, and now everyone hates on him, even though he's improving because he is improving since 2022.
Right.
People get bored, so just wait for a couple of years, and everyone will point out that Martin has the worst arms, that his legs are imbalanced. They already do that. He doesn't have like width. No, they're gonna get bored of Martin just as quick as they did with the other guys. And same thing is gonna happen to Samson. Like he's gonna
At some
get a
point, yeah.
lot of haters now. A lot of, if he will not deliver and the judges will give him wins like the Arnold and the Olympia, he's gonna become the main villain of the IFBB because
Mm.
Samson can't afford to look worse than he did at this Olympia. He needs to further improve
Yeah,
every
he's got to
time.
thread the needle for sure on this. He cannot look any worse because even if he wins, they're going to be like, "Hold on,
If
Samson's win was lose to begin with."
if at the Arnold Andrew Jack will come with his Texas Pro look, and Samson's gonna have his Olympia look. I think people will already wanna see a new face.
Right.
Just wait and see.
All right. So yeah, I would say one of the most important bodybuilding decisions out there. It actually is like the reverse of
You should do
91.
a video on that. You should do a video on that. And I'm
Yeah,
not.
I've had it kicking around my head for a while actually. But then I was like, well, with this one, I have to do it now. But I'll get around to it. I think it's more of like it would do well. I want to do it kind of at the end of the year. I don't know, but we'll see. And then what else was I going to say? Oh, this is like the reverse of 91. It's like Lee Haney knew he was on his way out, and then Dorian was on his way in. It's like the exact opposite, you know? It's like Samson
Who
wins
do
and
you have
he's
winning that one? 91.
it's so you can't it's like this one, it's like how this one's going to look, you know, like the people, the older guys are going to say, well, Lee Haney was still winning. We're still going by that criteria. He's the reigning Mr. Olympia walking into it. So that's what we should judge on. But obviously, he was more Dorian was more shredded, more complete, smaller as a whole. Yeah, especially at that point. But I think on the bodybuilding aspects, he probably wins. But again, it's like that wasn't the standard back then. So I wouldn't really. I would. I would. I
By
wouldn't rock the
today's
boat.
standard, Dorian would definitely win. And I think he actually won the the compulsories. I think
I believe so. Lee
Haney,
Labrada did too.
yeah, Lee Haney won the posing rounds because it was scored back then. But upper body, Lee Haney would win. Dorian was not bad, but lower body, man, Lee Haney was, all due
Soft.
respect, he's the greatest of all time, but he was weak. His wheels were weak, man. Like his calves or his hamstrings, non-existent. You can't. No, no. Dorian smoked him really bad there.
Right. All right. I think that covers the top two. I don't know if I'll make this a two-parter, but we're gonna go on to the rest of the video. Maybe I'll split it up. Maybe I won't. You guys will know when it goes up on the channel. But
And he's gonna go individually with everybody, so he's not gonna compare them. I don't.
that's
Yeah.
fine with me. That's fine with me. I want to hear Tyler's thoughts on these guys. I can't imagine he'll do more than top five, top six. I can't imagine that. So, we'll have him give thoughts. You, me, then back to him till the video's over.
We had
Sounds good.
our reigning Mr. Olympia, Derek. Some comments for me about Derek would be that it looks like his upper body definitely got bigger, and it looks like he lost some of his leg size, even from last year. So if you would look at comparison pictures of Derek's legs from last year to this year, I think you would see
again, again with the. I'll run to Derek's defense here. Like whether he got better or worse, whatever he's about to say, I don't really care. But it's like, well, if you look at comparison pictures, I shut off. My ears are shut off after then. Like I don't care. Like, well, if you look at the comparison pictures, yeah, good thing we're not judging on that. Anyway, anyway,
that some of the quads, I think, just got dieted away. His side leg was not nearly as big and as impressive as it was last year. And even from the back, where his hamstrings and his conditioning is really shining through, that leg width wasn't quite the same as it was the year prior. I think that caused a pretty big imbalance between his upper and his lower body. And when we're looking at him compared to the top two, I think that kind of put him out of the discussion. His upper body, he made improvements in certain areas. You could see a little bit more detail and fullness to the chest. I think, the arms and the shoulders as well. Obviously, his back got even better, I think, than it was the prior year. But the back double bicep, he posed it perfectly. The back lat spread, he has a very hard time of keeping that open, when we're posing them a lot. And in some of the shots, I'm sure, there's some pictures, there's videos. In some of the shots you're seeing, he's not even getting it out fully. When he hits it right, he still has the best back lat spread on stage. But when it's not hit right, Hottie's and even Samson's were looking better than him on this day. Another thing Derek really needs to work on is more separation and more detail to the midsection. I also think he was having a little bit of trouble controlling his midsection, specifically on the side chest and side tricep poses. You can see the
yeah,
stomach just
I think I've had I've had enough on this one. Like it's literally all the same things we said about Derek in 2023. Like I was saying these things and I think he got better this year overall. I think the chest was better. There was a little more detail, little. It's like he still needs more.
But fullness, the chest fullness in the front lat spread especially.
Yeah. And then
The abs
back
were,
got
yeah, the abs were better this year.
yes. So like all these things were issues to this weekend, but also even greater issues back in 2023. So I think this just further vindicates everyone that
True,
said Derek
true.
shouldn't win last year.
True, but there are things that got worse. Like his side leg last year was awesome, and now no, not the same.
It's still
The,
fine.
the glutes details last year were like zippers, and arguably the back in the back double probably a bit more detailed last year. Now it was fuller, but I didn't do this comparison. At first, I thought this year he nailed it because I was looking like for his chest and his abs, and when I saw those improvements, I said, "Man, he nailed it." They wouldn't have him lose this Olympia because they gave it last year with all those flaws, and now he improved. He can't lose it. But when I saw the clear pictures and the HD, yeah, the legs weren't there, the side legs. So I agree with Tyler actually.
Oh yeah, I agree with Tyler. Both years. It's just like to me, is he that much different than 2023? No. Ergo, he shouldn't have won both years. He shouldn't have won either year. So and he won one of them. So anyway.
It would have been a bigger tragedy if he won this year. That's my point. So last year he was still better than this year overall.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Not
Okay.
Taking
saying
out hope.
that, yeah, not saying that last year he should have won. I repeat myself. Had if Hadi won, it would have been less of a controversy for sure, physique
Mhm.
wise. But uh, the legs and everything, I think last year, we're gonna have to do that comparison probably.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody do it. I just don't think anyone like respectfully, I don't think anyone cares that much. But I
Yeah,
mean I kind of do, but
A
because
little
well
bit
anyway.
every single time he hit both of those side
and
poses.
one more thing to
Yeah.
interrupt you. I think it's gonna be in a way a good thing for Derek what happened to him because people are gonna get like a bit mm, feel sorry for him. Let, let's root for this guy. Think about if he nails it next time because they're gonna compare it with the Olympics.
He's playing 4D chess like Samson was, ruining his
Imagine
own
he,
condition for
yeah,
so many
yeah,
years.
yeah, he's thinking ahead.
That's just
Imagine
great.
maybe he thought the Olympia is gonna have 400K and they are not 500. I don't care about the Olympia. I'm gonna fool these guys, come in a bit soft, and then win the freaking Arnold. That's some.
Um, I will say, I will ask, do you think Derek, well, maybe no, you only talked about Hottie. Do you think Derek wins another Mr. Olympia?
Hard to say. He has the people above on his side, unlike Hadi, you know. So if it's very close between him and Hadi, they're gonna go with him.
But not if it's close between him and Samson. Or Andrew, maybe.
If it's close between him and other guy, I don't know, but he has less chances than with Hadi.
Oh,
I
yeah, I see
wouldn't
what you're saying.
I wouldn't count him off. I wouldn't write him off because I know you don't like Derek, but if Derek if Derek improves a bit his legs, and we all saw that at the Pittsburgh Pro, he actually had like some fullness and some sweeps to his quads.
And I
He
knew
doesn't
they'd come down.
he doesn't yeah he doesn't have hardy squads and he will never will. But if he comes better than last time
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
I
brings the
saw,
conditioning, I can see Samson sleeves. I can see them giving him back to him.
man, if he just does all these things, he wins the Mr. Olympia. If my if my grandma
Too
has
many
we
ifs.
had wheels, she'd been a bike. You know, I saw who is the best bodybuilder say that to someone in one of their comments. They 100% had to have watched the podcast at some point. They 100% have had to. Where else does that come up in bodybuilding? That clip is like 15 years old. Like, so I saw a couple, I think I've seen two people reference that comment, just some random guy saying, if my grandma had wheels, she'd be on a bike. And then who is the best bodybuilder said, if my
You're getting some quotes there, my man.
yeah, hold on. I think let me see here. Hold on. I think I have the I have the picture. Yep. Okay.
And here I am with only hello, Superset Maniacs, and welcome.
Look, look, I know that if my grandma had wheels, she would have been a motorcycle. She like he watches it. He watches it. He
For
watches the
sure,
Project Bodybuilding podcast.
for sure.
Great. Absolutely great.
We
Anyway.
salute, my man.
And really, for him going forward, I think it is making sure he gets that size in his legs back. He needs to have more upper to lower body balance. The upper body size-wise is great. Now it's just really focusing on the details. Keep bringing
Pause
out the
that, please.
details from the front.
The front leg spread, if you want to reverse it a bit.
Is
Just,
that good enough?
yeah, looking at this, at the shoulders and so on, I can see Derek actually pushing hard in this pose. And last year it wasn't the case because if you remember last year, Derek's chest sucked big time in comparison to Hardy's. But tell me here, who wins the chest in this shot between them two?
Derek, for sure.
There you have it, and the shoulders and
Yeah,
the arm
big stain.
fullness. So I wouldn't write him off. He's improving.
Now it's just really focusing.
Yeah. It's the chest on Hottie, like I noticed it as soon as I started putting the video together with him and Samson. It's just like, and I thought he won the side chest, but it just got really skinny, and he never had that good of a chest shelf, and then the delts are like out of
Yeah.
control. The pointy elbows and pointy delts, not a good look.
Focusing on the details. Keep bringing out the details from the front, the arms, the shoulders, the chest, and really, really focus now on the midsection, getting those abs better. You want to have it so you don't have poses that you're not going to win against these top guys. So for me, I think the ab and thigh would be the number one focus. You need to focus on improving that. The second one,
I have a great idea. Derek should hit a vacuum in the abs and thighs. That would, I mean, has anyone ever told you that? Like, has anyone ever told
No,
Derek that?
no,
Like,
no, I'm surprised by that. Why didn't we think about it?
it's almost like it's so funny because I think Tyler was like, vacuum's okay,
Yeah. And now
2023.
all of a sudden he doesn't do it anymore. But actually, I have a better one. He should do I think it's a bit more difficult, but imagine if Derek actually pulled a vacuum in the front lat spread. That would be huge. Like
Oh,
I think I'm gonna do a Photoshop job for that. And because I think it's possible. I've seen guys doing it. Lee Haney was doing like a half vacuum. I think Derek should try that. I don't know. It's a bit more difficult to hear a vacuum when you're spreading the wings, the position of your lungs and of your back and so on. But it's not impossible. Other guys did it before, so he definitely should do that.
you
He
should
should
do
do the
Derek with
vacuum
Hottie's delts.
with Hades dents
Yeah. I think that's a good comparison. Maybe he can get sixth.
versus Hadi with Derek's legs.
Honestly, I think a good comparison would be Hottie with Derek's abs.
Yeah.
That would be very interesting. Very interesting. I don't know what to make of that one, but hopefully this is the last time I have to pause it before he gets
would
through talking.
be
But
the
Derek,
front
not
lat
enough.
spread. We want to see more of that thickness and more of that detail shining through there. So having a better midsection and more detail in the upper body is going to really help that a lot. And then the most muscular as well, I think making sure the legs come up, and the detail shining through all throughout that upper body from the front can make it a much stronger pose. In fourth place, we had Martin. I think
Ah.
Martin was the
Ah,
surprise of the
my
show.
father.
I think he made some great improvements.
Look, I don't know, I don't think you were on this train, but I took so much shit over. I had Martin winning every single comparison except for like one, like against like Hottie or
Ronnie Coleman.
I I had Martin winning every single comparison I put him in. I had him beating Raphael, I had him beating a couple of others, and then I had him
But he was
beating
beating.
what's that?
He was beating Raphael.
And then I had him beating Andrew in my comparison from the Texas Pro. And then people, and I said, prediction wise, I don't think this is what I would make. In my final predictions, I didn't predict it, but in my own judging, I had Martin kind of easily defeating Andrew. And I got to be honest, I don't think Andrew will probably be talked about here, but I don't think Andrew should have been fifth. I get it. I think maybe per the scorecard, and I kind of agree with this, Hunter did fall off at finals. Like if
Yeah,
he just kept it from prejudging, I think he would have won.
yeah,
So I get
yeah,
it,
yeah,
but if this was just prejudging, Andrew Jack should have been
yeah, yeah, yeah.
sixth.
And he was.
He was I know Chris Psycho Lewis was saying, "Oh no, it's not an injury in Andrew's abdomen." But then he comes out and doesn't flex it. But anyway, we'll talk about him. Let's talk about my father here.
Literally just from New York until now. As we see, he has crazy, crazy legs. They're separated, they are full from the front, from the side, and from the back. They are crazy impressive. Upper body wise, I think he has improved a ton. You see on the front double bicep pose, his arms themselves, I think, came up. He has more detail to those inner arms right there. And his taper definitely got better for the front double. The front lat, I think he just needs to work on his mobility more. You can see that fullness through the outer arms, the shoulders, and the chest, but he has a hard time of really getting those lats spread out to create the taper that he needs. Side chest, super strong pose, back double bicep, very full, very bubbly, but he just needs to add more width to this pose. That would be my main critique for Martin is width in the front lat, width in this back double, and width in the back lat spread. If he adds more width, he can turn these poses into a big time strength for himself.
Absolutely agree. And that's basically all I have to say. Like rear lat spread is done. It's done. He just needs the posing. Like he hit it well in Detroit and then never hit it again. He just needs to open up. He has all the lat width he needs in the front double. He's fine there. In the rear poses, he needs just more width, like muscularity wise. He needs to add it.
Yeah, yeah.
But then also I'd like to see him a bit tighter in the back.
Narrow. He's not. He has narrower shoulders, like more like reminiscent of a Phil Heath. So he definitely needs that lat width to compensate.
Well, he's better than Phil Heath.
Much better, of course. Only Ronnie Coleman in O2 beats him.
2020 Big Ramy was the best physique I've ever seen, bro.
Where?
The Arnold, not even the Olympia.
He was good at the Arnold.
I agree. I think he was better there than in the Olympia.
He wasn't as dry, but he was a monster.
Right. I preferred it. I remember because that was the year the Arnold got held back. And then it was like 2 weeks before the Olympia. And then he jumps in, Dexter beats him, and then
And
and then
again.
and then what?
Kind of shitty that Dexter beat him.
I was okay with it because it was Dexter's second to last show. He had already made it, or maybe he announced there that the Olympia is going to be my last show. There were rumblings of it before, yeah, it Rami got the last laugh. Dexter probably should have been 10th out of the top 10, maybe, but he still got ninth. But then Rami won. What a shame. I would have had Phil Heath over him.
Very quick. Best shape of Rami?
2017 Arnold Europe.
Yeah, good answer. 2018 Olympia finals?
He was at the 2018 Olympia?
Yeah.
Oh,
in the prejudging. I did a video on that. You should watch my.
I did. I was no, I didn't because I was pissed. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
I've
you
seen
were
someone.
watching Mark Max Masters video. I know.
No, I saw someone. Mark did Ronnie versus Samson. I was gonna do Ronnie versus Samson, but like the first version of Ronnie, his first win. Um, and then I was like, well, I'll just do the 2015 Arnold Brazil Big Ramy versus Samson. And then I see I'm going to go make the slides for it. And then I see my YouTube. What would a
Man,
prime Big Ramy do against Samson? Like, oh, you people, you
you
people.
you no, it's
This,
a
oh, you said at finals.
no this just look at the final. Just I don't know the front last spread
Okay,
for it.
okay. What is this? What
No,
are we?
come on.
Yeah, this is your savior, bro. Okay, okay. Let's
You
take a
got
look.
me there, but just this look at this.
You know what? I agree. You're right. This wins against everyone. Okay, I
Look at
will
the
look.
side chest.
Well, the side chest is. I'll look at the front lat spread, like you said. Let's
Front.
see here. If I can find it,
It's there. No, the previous.
that's pretty good. That's pretty mid.
That beats that one. So I'm gonna get some unsubscribers now.
Yeah, that's
That
me.
one last spread beats Ronnie all day.
This front, honestly, if you stood this next to Dorian, Dorian would be getting pushed.
Yeah, he would get dwarfed like
That's true.
legs and chest. Dorian's gonna would be in trouble for sure.
Yeah, I think the lats would be better on
For
Dorian.
sure, Dorian
Um,
would have the legs.
and it's not just the lats, especially in a pose like okay, but let's take a
And
look.
would
What one last
Dorian would
pose? I gotta look at the
Dorian would
most
win
muscular.
would win the Dorian would
He
win
made
the neck.
yeah, he made quite the jump from prejudging to finals of the show. Like I'm looking at prejudging, this sucks.
You
Like,
did you didn't knew that, man? He was so overlooked in the finals. In the finals, he was the Mr. Olympia in 2018. That's the best version of Big
no,
Ramy.
yeah, like actually, I would agree with you. Like I gotta, I just going off of what I'm looking at here. Rami, well, hold on. Let me make sure I'm not making a claim here.
Take the
I'm
back
making a
double.
good,
Check
yeah.
the back double, and you'll see. Compare this to
Yeah,
2020.
that beat Sean. Not just in that shot, but with him having the better back. Like,
Actually
but
has the
okay,
low
but
back.
prejudging sucked. Like prejudge, like I'm looking
Big
at prejudging. It was awful.
big time. That's why he got.
Mm, hold on. Now I'm curious. Do
Yeah,
you think I'll be able to find
yeah.
one?
No, they dropped him in the finals too, but it wasn't fair.
That's that's men's physique. Why can't I just get open? Is that possible? And that's way too blurry. I'll look at it in my own time, but I'm very interested in that. Um, no, that's 2021. So yeah, I'll take a. Oh wait, what do we have here? Okay, that's bikini. That's also bikini. Wheelchair. Men's physique. Men's physique part two. Women figure classic. And it's not here. Okay, we're going on too long. I'll have to look at it because that's quite the jump. But yeah, I would say actually, was he more shredded than 2015 though? Like I know 2015 Arnold wasn't
From the back,
shredded, but
yes. 2015 had soft glutes, man. So
yeah,
that front lat spread and that front double from 2015,
I-
mwah. But the back, no.
I'll
That
take your word on it.
2015 front lat spread is beating Dorian Yates in any of his front lats. I said it.
Ooh,
I
I'll
said it.
agree. I'll agree. Hey,
Just put up the picture for the audience to see. Put it
uh,
on the
what do you want?
2015 2015 Big Ramy Arnold Classic Brazil it was, I think. Not necessarily versus Dorian. Look at that.
Yeah, I was working on this, obviously. I told you I was working on this, but yeah, it's like
And the quads, man, look at that.
Okay, but hold on, the back. I know you said the back was soft. I think
Look
the
at
back
it.
got better in 2018, but like, is this
No,
really that far off
the
from
glute.
2018? That's not far off, is it?
But it's still worse.
Okay, okay, bro.
Bruh.
Anyway, anyway, let's finish
Yeah,
Barton
let's
up.
do it.
I think
Obviously, like I
just
said, the
one or
legs
two
from the
more.
back, the hamstring detail, the conditioning, the leg width is really, really good. The back lat spread, I still think you can see he can hit it and he can add more thickness and depth to his back with the back lat spread. Want more of that 3D look from the upper body, especially when his lower body is so dominant and so impressive. Going through
The way
his
he
ab and
did was
thigh, extremely.
oof, oof,
Oof.
in, oof. The way he was doing in the live stream. Oof.
Martin?
No, Phil Heath was when he's
Oh,
lost him.
yeah. I
Oof,
can't. I
oof.
get Phil's interesting. He's passionate when he's talking about himself, but he's kind
No,
of cringe.
he's a politician. No.
He's kind of cringe.
Yeah, he's a politician. He's my favorite bodybuilder, but he's a politician
Oh,
already.
so am I.
Okay, see you.
Yeah, I'm a fan actually. Anyway,
Impressive. You see the detail, you see the small waist
Still
and the
going
V
with the
taper,
dumbbell.
and his most muscular is one of the most impressive on stage with the muscularity, the conditioning, and the fullness that he displays from top to bottom. I think he announced himself as a dangerous force into the upper echelon here in the Pro League, and he has a very, very exciting future going forward. Next up is Andrew Jacked. So for me, Andrew on Friday definitely wasn't conditioned enough. I don't think overall that this was Andrew's best package. I judged him myself in Texas. I think he brought a more impressive look to Texas. He really needed to improve on what he looked like in the finals in Texas when he dropped some of the water that he had in prejudging. And the conditioning definitely needed to shine through here, but I just don't think they were able to do that. Obviously, he's very, very impressive in a lot of poses, the front double, the front lat spread, the ab and thigh, but he was even lacking the detail and the separation that he normally has through his abs and midsection, which is a big, big strength for him. I think his legs have come up, but from the front, he can still use more separation. That's going to make the legs appear to be bigger as well. So I think that comes with conditioning too, but he needs deeper separation from the front and the legs. From the sides, he really, really needs size to his side leg. He needs more hamstrings for overall balance. He needs a lot more of that. But I also think even the quad itself from the side could definitely be a little bit better. We don't see that density and that size that we're seeing on the guys that placed ahead of him there. I also think for how round and full he has of chest and arms and shoulders, even the upper body isn't displayed quite right. So all of his strengths are really shown. He really needs.
it's the same things all the time. Fix your posing and fix the conditioning. Like, I got to be honest, this is kind of it's a bad day to be an Andrews supporter. It's blackpilling. It's maybe I shouldn't use the term. Maybe the audience will think it's racist, but blackpilling is not what I mean in this situation. I mean, I mean, does he have a chance to win the Olympia? Dwindling? I don't want to say by the competition because Texas Pro was like such a great physique, but like it's I think the window, and I know he's a new pro. I get it. I think the window is dwindling. The hourglass has been tipped over. What do you
Yes.
think?
Yes, Mark Max Muscle was right. He is not nailing it at the Olympia, and I'm not gonna ever put my hopes on him again for the Olympia until he proves me wrong. He will probably win next year's Texas looking even better than this year,
And
and
then
he's
not show
gonna
up to the Olympia.
and then at least be worse at the Olympia. I'm curious to see him at the Arnold, but I have a feeling he's not gonna be there. I don't know why. It was the
Yeah.
same. It was the same in 2024. So I would love to see at least his Texas version on that Arnold stage. That would be, I mean, having Samson and him in the first call out next to each other would be the dream of every bodybuilding fan, I'm sure. But my hopes are low on him after seeing this Olympia. I mean, everyone can get injured, don't get me wrong, but this is the third year in a row where he doesn't nail it
Oh,
at the
hold
Olymp.
on. Are you saying he's injured? I've been told specifically that he wasn't.
I don't know.
He was.
Those abs looked,
He just looked uncomfortable.
he
Probably
looked
something
uncomfortable.
minor,
And
but
by his facial expressions, he knew he didn't bring it. It
yeah,
looked like
exactly.
he was hurting. I don't know. Something wasn't right.
Everyone said the same thing. Literally everyone said the same thing. And Chris Psycho Lewis swore up and down, "Oh, he's not injured," even though Andrew said, "Hey, something's going on here. I just don't feel 100% in my abs. Like I couldn't do heavy lifting. I couldn't
No.
pose for 3 days." And Chris Psycho Lewis was like, "You guys, you need to hear it from the source." Well,
Yeah.
the source is boy plays fifth,
I
and he
told you, bro, is the source.
and he was supposed to win the show. I had him in fourth. Where do you have in your predictions?
After Nick Walker dropped in third, yes.
Did you have him above Samson?
Yeah.
Foolish
Man,
fool.
I apologize publicly in a video to Samson. He proved me wrong and he proved a lot of us wrong.
I said no matter what happens,
Samson, yeah, Samson.
Even if Samson wins, he's an upgrade. How was Samson not an upgrade of Andrew? And this is before the Olympia happened. I was like, if we're picking Andrew to win, pick Samson to win. It's
Bro,
like,
Texas Andrew beats Samson in the front double, front lat, abs and thighs, and
and
arguably, he can level up with Samson from the back.
not from France. Not from France. Like what we knew before the Olympia, not from France. France was the deciding factor for me.
I don't know, man. I still think that Andrew can get Samson from the back, even though Samson improved because
Yeah, not anymore. Well, I don't know.
Samson still lacks the lats that Andrew has, and Andrew has the lats.
Yeah, actually, I will agree with you because I have said for a while that Andrew's back with tip top conditioning is one of the best backs in the world. It's just we can't see that much because he's blurry and it's the same old, same old. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I got to be honest. If I see one more show like this, he's done in my predictions. He's
Maybe already done for me because I don't know. He's gonna win the
to
Texas for sure. That's my bet.
well, yeah.
work on posing a lot because it's doing himself a disservice with the strengths
Look
that
at
he
him
does
here.
have.
Looks like it's
So
hurting.
it takes
No hamstring. What happened here? I wasn't what it was at the Texas.
And the angle should be favorable here, but I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
it's doing himself a disservice with the strengths that he does have. So it takes away from some of the weaknesses that he's going to need to work on. The back double bicep, I think, he was pinching a little bit in the back double bicep. He could still pose that a little bit better, even though you see his back has improved. When he's pinching through his traps, he's not opening up his lats all the way, which would create an even crazier taper. You see he can still improve on his legs from the back and the hamstrings as well here. Back lat spread, I don't think he hits his pose right either. He kind of stays too upright, does not get the lats all the way out. Maybe he's even rounding them forward a little bit too much. I'm not sure. His shoulders forward a little bit too much. But we're not seeing the taper and the thickness that we need to see there as well. The side tricep is the second side pose that he really, really needs to work on. I think
The second side pose that he needs to work on, as if there's a third or or a fourth. I, I don't.
Side glutes.
Yeah.
it could
Yeah.
be much better, but in the upper body and obviously the lower body. And then from the front, ab and thigh is very strong, especially when he's in the proper condition and has that separation and detail in the midsection. Favorite most muscular, I don't think he should be hitting anything with hands on the hips. This is a very, very hard most muscular to hit because a lot of guys can't keep their lats all the way out. So we're really seeing gaps in your physique when you're not doing this. It makes you look narrow. For such a big guy, he should be making himself look as big as possible and really, really accentuating his strengths. So a lot of posing work, I think, needs to be done for him. And he still has such an impressive physique that the day that he dials everything in, even just the conditioning, he is still a very, very big danger to every single person that placed above him at this show. So this definitely wasn't Andrew's best, but when Andrew does hit his best, everyone could be in trouble because that's the kind of physique that he has. Last up is Hunter Labrada. So for Hunter, I think he brought his best ever physique on Friday night. You can see all the added size and density that he brought. The main things that he would need to work on are more fullness and thickness to his chest. And the biggest thing for him, especially from the front, is the midsection. Now, I think he's done a good job of improving the midsection, but he still needs more separation and deeper abs because it, can throw off his look in some of these front poses. And against guys that have very, very good midsections, that is, definitely a weakness that gets exposed. His back has come up a lot. I still think he can continue to improve it to really make it a strength where he can start beating out some other competitors. But overall, the conditioning that he brought, and also I want to say that his posing conditioning improved a ton. Even on Friday night when, we were doing the 4th through 8th place call out, we posed these guys a lot. And I have to say, even Martin started to sweat and break a little bit at the end. Ooh. Hunter never did. And I think that's what made it so close in the scoring between Martin, Hunter, and Andrew on Friday, because Hunter never cracked. His conditioning actually seemed to get better, and he never faltered on any posing. So Friday night was definitely his best performance. Saturday night, he did not bring that same conditioning and that same look to the stage. Basically, we just didn't see the detail, didn't see the pop, didn't see the separation that we needed to from his physique.
Right, they're not going to show it, but I'll go ahead and show it real quick because let's see here. Because I did like I said, I had him 5th at prejudging. Like you can just, I'm not going to pull up a full picture because we just looked at the prejudging, but you can see the cuts in the quads, and then when you go to prejudging, it's go to finals rather. It's just not the same. And like this kind of held up. He held up from the front, but then like when you go to the back here, this is where like soft in the glutes, obviously wrinkles in the glutes, and he just doesn't pop the same amount. That's basically it for Hunter. Like it was the best Hunter. He'll never get the props. He'll never get the props from the fans, but he's one of my favorite guys he's one of the only top guys I watch on a semi-consistent basis. How about you?
I like Hunter too. I mean, he's a mass monster, complete with good arms, great legs, calves. And yeah, he looked awesome on Friday. Even with the crappy live stream, when I saw him, I thought he's gonna be like, I was sure he can be in the first call out when I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
With the vacuum and everything, and I saw the details. He was 5th, like he was actually 5th on the scorecard for prejudging, deserved it though. So yeah, good showing for
straight 6th at finals there.
Too bad for that. Yeah.
And that's what ended up dropping him to a pretty consensus 6th place on Saturday, which is why the scores ended up the way they did. But overall, I think he's on the right track, and he's doing the things to make himself, again, very competitive with every guy that placed above him at this show. Overall, I think the Men's Open is heading in the right direction. It's getting better every year, and all 6 guys that I've reviewed are constantly improving and trying to bring their best, and it's what makes this division so exciting.
It is exciting. It certainly is exciting. Okay, so do you have final? Okay, because I didn't have you on the podcast of the Olympia wrap up, what did you think of? Let's start with production. Let's start with that. Let's start with that. Just to give some final wrap up thoughts here. What did you think of the production of the Olympia, from the live stream to the live stream cost, anything like that?
They bragged about the production like they do, like it's political and so on, but I didn't like the production. I thought, e- even from the press conference, when I saw the guys running around with those chairs and they were counting and they were not sure how many chairs to bring on the stage, it was like, for me, man, you could do this way better than this. And then the crappy live stream, like I don't know what happened. They turned the contrast so high that you couldn't see any detail, anything. It was like low luminosity and high contrast, and that was a pain. That was a disrespect to anyone who paid $75 for that, because that
Yeah,
wasn't watchable. You could watch only. That's why I did a video focusing on what Big Steve did with them, like in regards to moving on the stage in the first call out and who's in the middle, because you couldn't see anything else from the live footage. So that
yep,
was bad. What else? The lighting was better, I think, than last year at least. And
I
I
would agree.
think a big factor for that is because they didn't step from the line. So yeah, the box thing was a huge improvement. Like that should stay, and for most of the times the athletes actually respected that and they stayed in their design box.
I feel like the only one that got yelled at was Chris Bumstead.
Chris was yelled at, and Martin, I think it was yelled at the same time.
Oh well, come on. Martin gets a pass. Actually,
But
Chris
Chris
is.
was pretending he didn't understand, but it was clear when you had like an odd number of athletes on the stage, you wouldn't sit on the box, you would sit in between two boxes. It was so obvious, but I don't know, maybe he didn't get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, lighting was probably better or probably the same as in the past years, but since they didn't move forward and get out of the supposed lights, that
Mhm.
I think that fixing the lights to shine exactly where they need to be on the line, and if they are coming 2 or 3 meters in front of that line, of course the light is not gonna look the same. So it's probably this is the reason. What else did you ask about the production?
And well, that basically covers it. I mean, well, I don't need to ask about the timing. I don't think I need to ask about the timing. I mean, was it even improved compared to last year? I forget every year. I try to push it out of my mind, but like it was still, they started late. On finals, maybe on prejudging too. I can't remember, but like it still's like a. I mean,
Or
maybe four
yeah,
or 5 hours is like the best they anyone can do. Like with that many divisions, like is that the standard? Like nobody else does it, so like it's simultaneously the best and the worst.
for me it sucks even more because I live on these different time zones. So for me, it's like seven. For Vegas, it was like 10 hours difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sucked anyway. But what I noticed is that this year, except for the press conference, because they were late with that, I think they pretty much respected the scheduled time, the beginning time. I think that was pretty accurate this year.
Yeah.
And about that, I don't think you even though you're paying the whole show and you have no choice basically, I don't think you have to watch all the divisions as long as they respect the timeline and you know that I don't care about bikini. Yeah, the fact is that you don't know where bikini is gonna, for example, is gonna end. But when the show starts, like you have the prejudging starts in the morning, you know it's gonna end, and at a certain time the final is gonna end. So you know that if you're not interested in the first division, you know in your head that you maybe have like at least half of hour or 1 hour that you can be late to that live stream, so you won't lose anything. but it would be much better if they somehow would manage to schedule like at that certain hour that division, like in that time frame, that division is gonna have their way, and then
Mhm.
that, and then that, and you would know, well, I'm not interested in that division. I'm gonna wait, do something else, go to the gym, eat or something, and come when my favorite division is on live.
Fitness.
Yeah, and I see this argument that they cannot do this because they have, I don't know, they have things get late, and come on, man. Every sport, like they can imagine trying to watch football and them being late with 2 hours. That's unimaginable. And yes, you have like I don't know how it's in American football, but in our football in Europe, you have 90 minutes for a match, and it's easier maybe. It's 90 minutes plus some more.
Yeah, on TV, I think they usually block out 3 or 4 hours for a game, but there's a lot of stopping and starting in our games. I don't know how that relates to
But
for
they
you
need
guys.
to figure this out. I mean, it's always going to be a niche sport. People are going to watch by buying pay-per-views. It's not going to be on TV and stuff like that. But it still should be a little more clear all this, because you have to clear your schedule when the Olympia is if you want to watch it, because you never know when it's going to start, when it's going to end, when and all this.
Yeah.
So yeah, they definitely, it's not about this year. This year I felt it was better than last year. I don't know what to put my finger on it, but I think it was better. I felt it that way.
So final question. If you were to give this a score out of 10, what would you give this Mr. Olympia?
Everything like production plus the lineup and everything.
Yeah,
Uh,
everything.
so I would have to have like a I don't know, a pattern compared to what? To last year or in general?
Recent Olympias.
Yeah, let me put it like this. I've watched 2019. It was free, actually, 2019. You didn't have to pay. 2020, I think 2020 was a pay-per-view because it was the
The
pandemic.
pandemic.
Yeah, I don't think they had like people in the audience. So that was the first time it had a pay-per-view, and I didn't buy the pay-per-view. Yeah, I can say for the last 3 years where I actually bought the pay-per-view, 2022, 2023, and 2024, I think it was the best actually
I
from
would
the
agree.
production and everything, because 2022 was a pain in the ass with all those athletes and all that stuff. 2023, I felt 2024 was a bit improved from the schedule and everything, the lighting, the box thing. I think it's an improvement, but I didn't like the live stream quality because that's actually one of the
It,
most
it was
important.
useless night one. Like you literally couldn't see anybody that was Samson or darker.
Yeah, that fact, that thing drags drags it a bit lower, but overall it was an improvement probably. But if you wanna brag like this is the 60th and so on and so on, not you they could do better than this.
Ooh. They had the Mr. Olympias on stage at one point, at least the ones they can get to
I
show
was
up, right?
probably I was probably sleeping. I was taking power naps in
I don't
between.
know if I don't know if they did that. I feel like they did because
Yeah,
I saw
they
Dexter
gave the
Jackson
ring.
running around with the ring. I
Yeah,
saw
they gave them the new Olympia rings. Phil, Dexter, Ronnie, Jay.
no
Uh,
Arnold, no Frank Zane.
yeah, it was Samir Banu, Lee Haney. Everyone since Samir except Dorian, I think. And yeah, they didn't bring the newer guys. Of course, Sean Roden passed away, rest in peace. But Brandon wasn't on the stage. He probably got it backstage,
Probably
or
not.
or was he? And then Rami wasn't there. Yeah, the newer guys weren't there. But from Samir to Phil, except Dorian, they all were on stage.
Yeah.
And about Rami, I heard an interesting thing about him. I don't know if you knew about. he may be denied to enter the USA again. Did you hear anything about it?
No.
I
I
think if you've been following him on Instagram, I don't want to get into that nasty stuff, but he's like into the Middle East war. It's pretty vocal, and he's on the other side. So I think this it's a reason because he
Yeah,
was
he's from
supposed to,
Egypt, and that's
yeah,
not flying. I can tell you that much.
yeah. He was supposed to do the Pittsburgh Pro guest posing this year, and I think he didn't because he didn't get the visa actually.
That was what he
So,
said. Some people didn't believe it.
yeah, some people didn't believe it, but I think there's some truth to that.
That's fair. Oh, look, here's Josh. You know Josh.
My man.
There's Josh and his girlfriend. Honestly, Josh, who who even likes women? We're done there. Um, so no, Josh, that was a joke. That was not a personal attack. It was a joke, but it was not a personal attack. But anyway, Superset Man, thank you for coming on. I hope you enjoyed yourself thoroughly.
I actually did, man. Thank you for inviting me.
Were you offended by my casual attire today?
A bit. What,
I
what do you think about mine?
saw that and I was like, bro, should have gotten fifth. Should have gotten ninth with that hair.
Yeah, that's a bad hair for a real human being, but for Goku was great.
I've never seen a single episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Too bad. Don't tell me you watch Naruto though.
No, I don't watch any anime.
Okay, okay, we're fine then. We can do
Nah.
another podcast.
All right. Well, that was our recap of Tyler Mannion's recap of the 2024 Mr. Olympia. Um, I will be back with classic. I don't know if Superset Man wants to do that with me. If there is a classic one, there definitely will be any minute now, probably because Open One got dropped last night. He'll go through all the divisions eventually. So hopefully we can react to that as well. If you're down, I'm down. Um,
I'm down. Let's figure out a day and we can do it once it drops.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So all that said, Superset Man's socials, all of his Instagram accounts, YouTube account will be in the descriptions for you to like or subscribe on the given platform. Obviously you're on my channel, so go ahead and like the video and subscribe for more, and I will see you all in the next video.